You did mention Pogba. We might as well just talk about it now, since you had mentioned him.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on him coming back? This whole injury situation. It just keeps dragging on.
Yeah. So again, being the knee guy on Twitter, I don't have an issue with the decision to not get knee surgery. A lot of people had issues with him opting out of doing a knee surgery. Those people never had knee surgery. It sucks. Rehab sucks. I've done it 3 times. It's not fun. And I'm never going to judge a player on wanting to try and find an alternate solution to something other than knee surgery. If there's any sort of, these holistic remedies are never going to work. Surgery normally is the best solution. But I can't fault a guy for saying, I don't want to do surgery. Didn't work out. He wanted to try and make the World Cup. Hindsight's 20/20. But he did sign a 4-year deal? 3, maybe 3. It's a long one. It's like
I don't even know.
Yeah. It's a long one. So to me, what's the rush? Would he have changed our season? No. I think our season would be the exact same as it is right now. And he's coming back hopefully at the right time, just when we need him. Meretti's down, but he should be coming back after the Derby. He should be back in a week. We're short on midfielders, and I don't think he's changed the entire landscape of our season. I think he'll change it moving forward if he's available. I think he's a game wrecker when he's healthy. But people would keep pointing to the injury issues. But let's see what we got in him. Let's see what we have. We have him for a while. I'm personally really looking forward to seeing what he can do.
Same.
Listen, I don't know. Again, looking outside in, as I said earlier, for me, I'm still a bit optimistic, just even looking as just a fan of the league, right? For Pogba, looking back at what he was, not only at Juve, but just even earlier on in his career too. The earlier United days as well. Even the second time going back to United, having some success, and then obviously falling off a bit there. But for me, I don't know if he's the same Pogba. We haven't seen it, so it really remains to be seen. For me, I still think he needs to earn it. Just because of his name is Pogba, it doesn't mean that he's easily insertable into the squad. That's how I see it. Obviously, his name and his accolades and his performances in the past do him justice, going forward. But he's a shell of his former self, in my personal opinion. Do you think, Anthony, that you said going forward he can make that impact? Is this something that, I know you said that the contract is a longer one? Do you think they, after seeing what has transpired throughout the season, will they try to cut that short? Will there be a way to maybe get rid of him, or do you think they're actually sticking on this Pogba train for the long haul?
No, I think they're going to be with him for the long haul. You want guys in the building who want to wear that jersey, and I think Pogba is one of the guys who want to wear that jersey. Chiesa is one of those guys. Locatelli is one of those guys. I think Vlahovic is one of those guys. Danilo's definitely one of those guys. I think Bremer's one of those guys. The way the team is moving and the way that they want to rebuild with a core, I don't think you can just do it with guys like Sule, Meretti, Fagioli, Locatelli. You can't just do it with those guys. You need some guys who are a little bit older, who've been there, who've played the Barcelonas on the big stage, who've played in the Champions League finals. Possibly he's lost a step. And there's a good chance that he has. We don't know.
Yeah.
But just having him in the building, and I think a lot of people look at his social media and say, look at this guy, look at the bad influence that he is. From everything that we've heard from the All Juve Cast, the people that we've talked to, we've heard nothing but the contrary. Player that wants to be there, team player, someone who loves the club, someone who understands the club. I get concerns of where he may be down the road. Is he going to be as healthy? But let's see. Let's see what we got. Behind the scenes, you want players like that. You need players like that. So me, I'm a little bit more optimistic. I'm a little bit older. I take things a little bit slower. I'm not as reactionary as some people. So I'll just wait and see. Let's just wait and see. Like Lucci's like all about. I love Lucci. I love Daniel. You know, but he has his thoughts on Pogba, and I disagree with them. And like like I said at the All Juve Cast, we have different opinions on things. And with Pogba, let's just wait and see. Let's see what happens. You know, because Rabiot's most likely not coming back. So there is a hole to fill, and you already have a guy to fill it in the building. Right? We're not going to be dropping big money this summer, I don't think.
Yeah.
So.
While we're on the topic of midfielders, Moretti, Fagioli were the two names, the young players that are kind of, I wouldn't say a revolution or anything, but you know, it's not often we see two young players get this many opportunities with the first team at the same time, and then you got another player in Rovella who's out on loan. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch Monza at all, watch Rovella, but what have you made of those guys? At least, you know, so for someone like Fagioli, who's really been stepping up in place of Pogba. How do you rate those guys, Anthony?
I didn't have an issue with. I thought Fagioli should have been loaned. I was completely wrong. Let me start with this. I was completely wrong.
Disclaimer.
At the beginning of the year, right? I thought Rovella should have stayed and Fagioli should have been loaned out. And Moretti. I thought actually Moretti should have been loaned out as well. Lo and behold, the complete opposite happens. Paredes, I didn't know about him beforehand. On the All Juve Cast, we had differing opinions on how he was. I didn't know. He's been not good. So obviously the natural reaction is, why did we get rid of Rovella? Rovella's still young, right? He will be in the building next year, 100%. He'll be there. But Jolie, for me, I could not have been more wrong on a player. I thought, you know, I think he won midfield of the year last year in Serie B. So there's like a good sign that he was going to be a good player. I overrated that award a little bit. I thought it was, you know, just Serie B midfield of the year. But what a fantastic player he's going to be. For me, I still think the jury's still out on Moretti. I hope he proves me wrong. I really do. I think he still has some growing to do. So he's a very young player. But the future's bright. You know, just look at their, you know, for those three, we'll have, you know, Rovella, Jolie, and Moretti in the lineup next year. Dean Houston, who's a center back with the Primavera team. He's only 17. He is most likely the next guy to come up. He scored an unreal goal in a game last week. But the future is bright for Juventus, and I just hope that these kids keep proving me wrong, keep proving the old guys wrong, and I don't mind it. I'll take the L's on these kids all day. You know, Milan's done it with their young players. I had doubts with them, and Adriano, you can. I don't know how you felt about it, but they put a lot of young guys out there, and you know, they proved everybody wrong, right? They won a Scudetto with a very young team, and they still, on average, I think, have a top 4 team that, statistic wise, it has players under 26 or 25 years old. So, and you want to know something? The league needs it. You know, the Pogba's good for the league. Di Maria is good for the league. Vlahovic is good for the league. But we need young Italians. You know, we need these young Italians to come up in all the clubs, in Juventus and Milan and Inter and Napoli. We need these players to come up, and they need a stage to grow on. And whether that is Serie and Europa League, but we need to showcase what we have in younger players. I am so excited for them to keep proving me wrong, and I will admit to it. I was dead wrong on a bunch of these guys, and it's great. They're wonderful players, wonderful talents.
Yeah. Sorry, Adriano.
No. I was going to agree with you. And again, listen, it's easy now to play Monday morning quarterback and say, you know what, this, that, and the other thing. But Nick, did you have a question? Because I wanted to continue on to the point.
I didn't have a question. I was going to add on that. I was going to say, I kind of had the same thing as you, Anthony, where I thought Fagioli should have been the one loaned out at the beginning of the season. I was pretty disappointed in the fact that it was Rovella loaned out. I thought Moretti was going to be better this year based on
Who's the youngest? Who's the youngest out of the three of those guys?
Moretti.
Okay.
He's 19.
Okay.
And you know what? At a professional level, there's a big difference between a 21-year-old, while Fagioli just turned 22, and a 19-year-old. And I think we're seeing that. And I think between Ravella and Fagioli, they're I'm not entering their prime just yet, but you're really seeing them come into their own. Even Ravella with Monza. Again, my Monza, I don't watch a lot of Monza games, but I'm thinking the games he played against us. They played each other three times this season. But for sure, like 22 years old, Fagioli, it's a big difference with a 19-year-old in Moretti. So, you know what? Let's give Moretti some time. But yeah, for sure, just excited about these.
He needs to eat a cup more like Banini. Like he just needs to put a little bit more. It's a boy playing with men, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a physically, like you can even go to like your local fields, watch a U17 game and watch a U21 game, and then watch a men's league game. Even at that, recreation level, it's just physically so much different. And people will point to like Vinicius Jr. and they'll point to Pedri and they'll point to these guys like these are like supreme talents.
Yeah.
That were supreme talents at 17. Don't give me this. Rovella was ready at 17. I don't even want to hear that. He's ready now, and unfortunately we loaned him out, but he wasn't ready 2 years ago. Some people will disagree with me, but it's okay for these guys to go on loan. And it's okay that Rovella's getting maximum amount of minutes somewhere else. Like De Winter at Empoli. He's another right back or center back for us that might come in next year. So let's just like 21 years old, 22 years old. Let's give it time. Like their prime for the midfielders isn't until they're 28.
Yeah.
Right? There's lots of time left for these kids.
Yeah.
Barring any, even like a catastrophic injury. This isn't 1990 anymore with Baggio had the knee injury and Del Piero had a major injury. Times have changed. Like they'll come back. Like just give it. Let's just be a little patient with some of these guys and some of these management decisions. Just got to be patient.
Yeah. And it's a funny point you make, even just bringing up just watching men's league. I mean, even when I started playing beer league hockey, playing from I would have been 21, so playing junior hockey against 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds, to playing against men, even if it was beer league and it's shit hockey, I was like, holy shit! Like these guys are huge. Like it's crazy the size, the physical difference at that age. Sorry, Adriano.
And like a team like Milan, like you guys, you were sort of and I'm not speaking negatively of your club, but you were in the past couple of years, 3-4 years, you were forced to play the young players, and now you're reaping the fruits, reaping the benefits of that, right? So, and other clubs really should be doing that. Now it's Juventus' time to do that. We're a little down on certain things, and Milan kind of had a mold a little bit. Pioli was down certain times. Like people were on him. Like, is this the right coach? Now I'm not comparing him and Max. I'm just saying sometimes you have to stay the course. Yeah. And Milan did it and it worked. Inter did it before that and it worked. And now Juventus, you just have to stay the course. And I think we made some bad decisions in the past 3-4 years. We made some bad contracts.
Yeah.
Bad contracts. And they're starting to filter through those. So let them filter through. It's just a bit of a rebuild. Everyone's got to do it.
Yeah, and you said it perfectly. I mean, it's the famous saying for Milan's sake. I mean, the whole till now it didn't pan out year one. Oh my God, we got to get rid of this kid. He's terrible. He's not the future of Italy's midfield. He's not a part of the Azzurri. Blah 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 blah. And he's there. He's good. He's now a champion. He's one of the better young Italian midfielders that we have. Same thing with Rafael Leao, a bunch of these guys. So I think it obviously takes a lot because these stages that these players are on, Milan at San Siro or just in Milano, in Torino, these are big piazzas to be a part of, to be thrown into the wolves, with. So obviously you're gonna feel the pressure when you're 19, 20, 21 years old. Gigio Donnarumma, 16, 17 years old when he first cracked the roster. So I agree with you totally. Stay the course, be patient. Us Italians or the Serie A, in Italy. There is no patience. So that's where I kind of wanted to lead the question into, because I agree with what you're saying about, let these young kids play. It's okay to go on loan. I agree with that, because these guys need experience, man. If they're not going to get it within their own club, they need these minutes. A guy like Lorenzo Colombo for Milan goes on loan 2 years in a row. Hopefully we'll see him back next year. Pobega, same thing. Like, there's so many countless names on all these bigger squads that have these younger players. Do you think, Anthony, that as much as we can hope and pray for these things to happen, is it something that Juve can afford to do, should be doing? We haven't seen something like this at Juve, in terms of going younger, not having the biggest and best stars available to them week in and week out. Is this something that is really realistic, I guess, going forward into these next handful of years?
Well, I said on our show the other day, you have to build your team to win your domestic league first. We made the mistake of building our team to win Champions League, and you have to build a core team to win domestically first. Now, Napoli's going to do their thing this year. Let's see what happens in the summer. I'm not going to say their wheels are going to fall off, but they're built correctly. Now, Juventus has to build their team to win domestically first. Now, whoever that is, I trust the management to do it. Whoever the management's going to be, because we don't even know who that is. We still need a sporting director, for crying out loud. So I think a lot of those things need to be fixed first, management-wise. Like, let's get a sporting director in. Let's figure out who our manager is going to be. There's differing opinions in our group. There's differing opinions out there in public. And is Max going to be the guy next year? Typically, when and this comes from, and this is an original thought for me. This is from Lou at the All Juve Cast. Typically, when you hire a new sporting director, they bring in their own manager. It's going to be expensive to get rid of Max, but do we have the money to get rid of him? A lot of decisions that people are getting paid a lot of money to make. And unfortunately, Nick and myself, we just have to sit here and just grin and smile and say, okay, I guess that's what we're going to do. But in terms of player wise, we're not going to make the big splash. Like, SMS isn't coming to Juventus. Juventus isn't spending, you know what I mean? Juventus isn't going to spend $60 or $70 million on a player this summer. They're going to spend 20 or 30, right? They're going to try and fill specific holes. And then just rely on players coming back from loan to fill the rest of the holes. And you want to know something? If people forget that, barring the minus 15-point deduction, which is a whole other conversation, Juventus is in second place. We're in second place with the team that we have, with probably, and I don't know the stats on it, but got to be the team that suffered the most players lost minutes wise to injuries out of any team in Serie A this year. It's not even close. So again, I think the core is there to compete in Serie A first, and I think that's what they should focus on. And just this summer, they just got to fill a couple more of the holes. But I think we're close to being back in Serie A. Europe, that's a whole
far away.
Okay.
Maybe Europa League, we'll see. But Champions League, we are a country mile away from Champions League.
Yeah,
not even close.
2 questions, since you kind of brought it up there, Anthony. Yeah. So the point you make about bringing in a new sporting director, new coach, all that, it is kind of interesting, because I mean, to be honest, ever since the change of all the directors, I don't really know who's who does what exactly. I know that Gianluca Ferrero is the president. Is he the sporting president? I don't know. I know he's a businessman. Does that mean he's going to want to bring in his? Yeah, he's okay. Does that mean he's going to want to bring in his own coach if he's a businessman? That business-wise doesn't make sense to fire Allegri. I mean, to be honest, they've been playing well. They've been getting the results. I think it's 15 wins in the past 18 games or something like that. But this is after, rough last season, rough start to the season. I mean, what do you make of the whole Allegri saga, his return, his future? And then at the same time, since you brought it up, second part to the question, when do you think Juventus will win the next Scudetto, or at least actually fight for one?
Okay, so in terms of the management, so they decreased the board from 10 to 5. I got some names here. So Francesco Calvo is like the chief football officer. So the non-sporting side is sort of set, and they brought some guys in, they promoted some people from the Primavera squad to fill in as Cherubini's out and Oliva Ben is out. So the sporting director is going to be key, right? Whoever he's going to be, that person is the one who's going to lead the sporting side of it. I think we all just sort of need to compartmentalize the management side and the plus Venza and the capital gains and all that. So that's like Calvo and Ferraro and Scanavino and those guys. They're going to deal with that. So the sporting director does have a big decision to make, right? Like getting to your second point, 15 of 23 games with clean sheets. It's not pretty. And I've said this on my show, and I take grenades for it every time. Max may not be the guy of the future, but he is the right manager for right now. Everything that's going on, he's done a great job of focusing the players, staying to it on the field, talking about how we have 47 points. He's not talking about the deduction. He's trying to, mentally, I think he has the players in the right headspace to combat everything that's going on off the field. And, it's, 5 of 6 clean sheets in the last, 6 games, or 6 wins, or, I can't even keep up with it anymore. Like they're playing well. We're in a good groove. Sometimes it doesn't look good, but it's effective. And he's doing things effectively. I personally don't think he'll be the manager next year, but I said it on our show the other day. He's gonna sit in his meeting this summer. He's gonna have a big board, and he's gonna show the new boss, look at everything I did. Look at all these clean sheets. I got young players playing. Look at all this good stuff. I got whatever trophies. We're in the semifinals of Coppa Italia. He's got to get past Inter. If he comes out with 2 trophies, right, and on paper, they're in second place, because no one's going to catch Napoli this year. Getting to your third point, if they get off to a good start next year, I think they can compete next year. I don't know if they're going to win, but everybody healthy, don't have that mid-year World Cup to worry about. I think they'll compete, and that's all I want. I just want them to compete.
I say 2025. I say maybe they compete next year, and then 2025. Maybe hopefully the next Scudetto. Let's see.
Sure, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Napoli. If they stay the way they're going, they could win 2 in a row here. But who knows? It's not easy. Like Allegri says, it's not easy to win. You have the right players, the right coach. You got to have a lot going for you. But there's still a lot of football left. We'll see.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, with all that being said, there, any name in mind that maybe you would prefer, that you think is realistic? Because we always know, man, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. I know you've had Max more times at Juventus than you've changed your underwear. It's crazy. But if, in your eyes, if he is not the guy going forward, current yes, but going forward no. Anybody come to mind, Anthony, or is that something that still needs time to process and get a good grip of who should be there?
I don't like going backwards. Like Conte might be a great coach, going backwards. Max is sort of going backwards. A lot of people want Zidane for what he did at Real Madrid. He had the keys to the fastest car to ever hit the pitch, right? That was one of the greatest teams ever assembled. So is he a great manager? If he was, wouldn't he be working right now? So I have my doubts about Zidane. Like, why is he working? Again, hindsight 2020, people wanted Desire to be. He's off in England now, whatever team he's going to, Bristol or wherever the hell he's coaching there, wherever he's coaching. So I don't. I have no idea who would be. I think a young Italian coach would be nice to see. Like give somebody. It's hard to give the keys to Juventus to a first timer, and I don't think they'll do it. But Agnelli wouldn't do it, and maybe Elkin wouldn't do it, and maybe Nedved wouldn't do it. But Nedved and Agnelli aren't there anymore. So maybe the new brass, whoever it is, whoever the sporting director is, maybe they would consider giving it to a younger coach. And maybe that's what this team needs. Some of the younger players, new age players, different ways of thinking. Maybe they need it, but it's going to be hard to pry Max out of that seat.